All right, so let's do it. You brought it up already. Let's do the yoga talk. I listened to you with Ali Beth Stuckey talking about yoga, and I thought it was so interesting. And I've had those thoughts myself with my wife. I mean, it's been a few years now, but I was like, babe, I don't want you. I don't want you doing yoga. I think there's something else that you can do to have some cardio, you know. And so it just, especially, my wife never went to a studio or anything like that, but it seems like from listening to you, even some of the poses, but especially people who go to a studio where, I mean, the instructor it seems like a religious ceremony. So what are your thoughts on yoga? Christian women, I'm just stretching, Doreen. It's nothing religious. What would you say to them?
Oh, so much. So it's not just stretching, it's not just exercise, it is a religion, it is Hinduism. And then pluralists go crazy when I say that, and they're like, well, what's wrong with Hinduism? You're being a bigot. And when I point them to John 14:6, when Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, the life, no one gets to the Father except through me. New Agers then point to near-death experiences. The reports say anyone goes to heaven, and of course we know that's demonic deception.
Right.
So yoga is a way to worship the 330 million Hindu gods and goddesses.
Wow. And
people who are from India, who are true yogis, are shocked that American so-called Christians would indulge in this. That just doesn't even make sense to them.
Wow.
So there's this thing called holy yoga or Christian yoga, which is a farce because you can't take paganism and scrub it. You know, it's like saying that there's Christian astrology or Christian Ouija board. We're told, I mean, our purpose is to honor God, to glorify God in all things we do. And yoga in no way, shape, or form glorifies God. We have a jealous God who will not share his glory with anyone, especially idols. And when you do yoga, you are normally doing the sun salutation series. And that includes 3 poses called the warrior poses. In Sanskrit, they're called Virabhadrasana. And Virabhadrasana is a demon, a Hindu demon, who murdered one of their deities. And the 3 warrior poses are acting out the murder scene where you are playing the part of a murderous demon. Now, how is that glorifying God? And there's ways to stretch. There's a friend of mine named Caitlin Engelbert, who has who was a holy yoga instructor until she was convicted that she couldn't mix Christianity with yoga. And so she has a YouTube channel called Non-Yoga Stretches now. Great. Stretching is normal. Right. But putting arms out straight in a warrior pose, that's not natural, it's not normal. And another friend of mine who's an ex-yoga teacher, Christian, she has a study on her truthbehindyoga.com website that showed that the average person starts yoga for innocent reasons, stretching, exercise, and within about 6 months, they are inculcated into the Hindu, the spiritual beliefs. It works on. They're also introducing it into schools. There's a Hindu company that is paying schools money to put yoga into the schools where prayer is not allowed in schools, and yoga is Hindu prayer. So it's outrageous. No Christian should be doing yoga.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you. Thank you for warning our audience. I've felt that way for a while. I remember I included my commentary on yoga as a portion of one of my sermons about 2 years ago, and I had a lot of women who were very frustrated with me in our church. So I'm glad that they get to hear it from someone besides me. So God bless you for saying that.
I did yoga for 20 years in the New Age. I've done my research. I would never do yoga now as a born-again Christian, never, because I love God. And Jesus said, if you love me, you will obey me. And it's disobedient to use your body like an idol like that.
Yeah. What fellowship does light have with darkness? I kept thinking of that verse also. It's just, there are some things because of the doctrine of common grace, because of the Imago Dei, God does create man in his image. That image is marred, it's tarnished because of original sin, but it's not utterly lost. And so there is an image of God that remains in every single human being. And so even the unbeliever, because of the Imago Dei, because of common grace, we're capable of doing wonderful things. A non-Christian could build an incredible suspension bridge that I, as a Christian, knowing that that person is at enmity with God, and their heart of hearts hates God, because they've still, even as an unbeliever, are made in the image of God, I'm going to trust that suspension bridge, and I would be willing to drive my family over it. And so there are some things because of common grace that they're not Christian necessarily, but all truth is God's truth. And so I always want Christians to realize, like, all truth is God's truth. And so even a non-Christian can build a suspension bridge. They can do many wonderful things. And as Christians, we can discern and see, okay, that ultimately, a non-Christian may be doing it, but that non-Christian has simply discovered something that ultimately belongs to God. It's all truth is God's truth. But there are certain things that do not belong to God. And so I think Christians have to keep that, because a lot of Christians will think, well, let's redeem it, right? So there's things that we need to preserve. There's things that we need to redeem, and there are other things that we need to entirely reject and discard. And I think Christians sometimes have they have difficulty with that rejection piece. They're like, well, why can't yoga be redeemed? And I, and like you've already said so wonderfully, yoga is not like a suspension bridge. It's not mathematics, a universal truth that ultimately stems from God, who is truth, but rather these are physical poses. So even you take the instructor and the running commentary, blasphemous commentary out of it, and you're just doing it in your home. It's just the physical posture. Well, just the physical posture is still a position of worship to false deities. There's no redeeming of that. And so when I heard you say that, when I was just looking at some of your content, I was so encouraged to hear that, because it just gave me another weapon in my arsenal to be able to try to encourage and plead with Christians to walk away. So thank you for that. Thanks for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, we hope that you'll take a moment and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can watch more content like this. Also, take a moment and give this video a like so that it can reach more people. And take a moment and click on the bell so that you'll be notified whenever we come out with new content. Thanks so much. God bless.